Live from Brooklyn, Fox 66 is celebrating 50 years of racing at Michigan International Speedway with this Racing Into the Weekend special, featuring exclusive stories and insights from racing's biggest names. Now, here's your host, Gina Trotman.
Welcome to our Racing Into the Weekend special. I'm Gina Trotman, live from Michigan International Speedway. This weekend, MIS is celebrating 50 years in operation. From the likes of Petty, Elliott, and Earnhardt, NASCAR's greatest drivers have won right here at Michigan's home track, and Sunday will only add to the track's history with the Firekeepers Casino 400. Michigan provides for wide-open racing. It's deemed as NASCAR's fastest track. Heading down the front stretch, drivers can hit speeds of over 200 miles an hour. The corners are wide, giving drivers plenty of lane options. The Cup drivers will go for 200 laps for 400 miles. Earlier this week, I had to get a feel for the track myself. I had the chance to go shotgun with MIS President Rick Brenner in the Firekeepers Casino 400 pace car. All right, so this is the official pace car for Sunday's race, right?
Sunday's Firekeepers Casino 400. Absolutely, you'll see it at the start of the race, during the stage breaks, and if there's any cautions during the race.
Well, the track's empty. You want to take it for a spin?
Let's go.
What is the purpose of a pace car in a NASCAR race?
So the pace car is used at the beginning of the race. And they kind of bring the field together, get everybody in proper position, and then when it pulls off and they hit the restart zone, off they go. And it'll get used at different times during the race as well, after a caution or during the stage breaks.
Talk about this track. Right now, we're kind of on the edge, so there's a definite tilt here.
There's definitely an angle to the track.
How does the angle help the drivers?
Well, I think it's all about the aerodynamics of the car and the track and everything they put together, and the compound of the tires, and it all kind of comes together to help them maximize their speed and performance, and of course safety.
So with the width of the track and the angle on the edges, this is one of the fastest tracks in NASCAR.
It is the fastest.
The fastest track.
Right now we're going about 65. But,
65. So,
yeah, but with the crossovers open, we're not going to.
Over 3 times the speed that we're going right now is what they will be going on Sunday. But we hear guys say, and some of the Michigan natives, I know, Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, they say this is one of their favorite tracks, and I can see why. If they can get as fast as they can go during the season right here.
Absolutely, and we'd love to see those two guys. You know, we'd love to see a hometown win here. Hopefully this weekend, we'll see. But there's a lot of great action going on. We'll see what happens. One thing I know is we're gonna have a lot of fun. That's for sure.
That's the point.
That's the whole point.
I also had a great one-on-one with the track president. You can find that right on our website as a web exclusive at WSMH.com. We have a great show in store for you tonight. We sit down exclusively with the son and wife of the late Lawrence Lopayton, the man who brought this track and the sport of racing to Michigan. Plus, we'll have our eyes on Eric Jones on Sunday. The Michigan native is a fan favorite. We visited him in his hometown this week and looked back on growing up in the small town of Byron.
Welcome back to this Racing Into the Weekend special. Now, here's your host, Gina Trotman.
Welcome back to our Racing Into the Weekend special here at Michigan International Speedway, where we are not only celebrating another weekend of showcasing the sport's best drivers, but also the 50th anniversary of the track. It was right here in 1968 where an idea came to life, and for that we owe a big thank you to Lawrence Lopayton.
Father was the developer. It was really his idea to come up with bringing a high-speed 2.5-mile oval to Michigan.
This is Mark, son of Lawrence Lopayton. He was 15 when the Michigan International Speedway was built, and on the track was where much of his childhood was spent.
He was the kid to Cale Yarborough and Leroy Yarborough and the Allison brothers, and you know, all of the Wendell Scott, all of the race drivers at the time, Richard Petty, knew me. Because I had free reign. I had all the credentials. I had free reign of the track.
And this is his mother, Florence. Her marriage to Lawrence supported many of his ideas, but nothing quite like this one.
The first race, Bill France came and his son. We all sat around the table, and we were all so excited that how successful it was.
Lawrence passed away in 1993 at age 67 at the hands of brain cancer. Not only is he survived by his family, but by an idea he had many years ago.
Finding a spot, a place that would accept it was very difficult because people didn't want the noise of a racetrack around them.
In fact, Lawrence almost gave up.
At some point you stop saying, I'm beating your head against the wall and saying, where am I going to put an automobile track?
But before folding up his blueprint, a small town in southern Michigan showed interest.
He really had decided that it was probably not a good idea to go and continue to get turned down, and Brooklyn called and said, why don't you come out here?
And just like that, Brooklyn became the home of MIS.
It was a perfect fit. It really was.
And what a home it's been.
They were so welcoming. They were wonderful. They were really wonderful.
Lawrence has been called a visionary and a man ahead of his time.
Automobile racing was the largest spectator sport in the country at the time. And it made no sense that it not be in the motor capital of the world.
He literally brought the sport of racing to the state of Michigan.
Had it not been for him, I don't know when there would have been a track.
MIS was the first speedway of its kind.
He loved the idea of it being an event that people could enjoy.
But 50 years later, Lawrence isn't here to see how much MIS has changed since that inaugural race.
I'm sorry he's not around to see.
But if his son and his wife could tell him one thing.
Oh, that it's grown, that they have so many things there other than racing, actually.
It would be how his idea of a track turned into so much more.
How meaningful it is to others, and that weddings take place at the facility, that people met at the track, went to the track, their first date was at the track, they had a good time at the track, whatever it was, for it to have that kind of a feeling for people is really special. And to think that my father really is the one that developed it and brought it there is very special.
Welcome back. We're talking a lot about Sunday's Firekeepers Casino 400, but what just wrapped us right behind us is tonight's ARCA Racing Series event. That is where we find our very own Drew Moore in the winner's circle with tonight's top driver. Drew?
Yeah, that's right, Gina. I'm standing here with Sheldon Creed, who took the checkered flag here at MIS in his United Rentals Toyota. First career ARCA win. How does it feel?
It feels great. It's been a long time coming, and we've been so close so many different times, but to finally get the job done, it feels good.
Now, you took the checker, came in second in qualifying. It seems like you had a pretty good game plan coming into MIS.
Yeah, no, this is probably my favorite stop of the year for big tracks or intermediates. So I was really looking forward to this race, and just unloaded off the truck really good this morning. We were first in practice, qualified second, then took a few laps for the car to come into the race, but once it came in, it was really hard not to go fast. So these days don't come that often when you have a race car like that. So it's nice to take advantage of it.
Want to stay? Don't want to leave Michigan, I'm guessing, at this point, huh?
Yeah, no, Michigan's been good to me. We were good here last year, just didn't get the job done, and no, this make the ride home a little bit sweeter.
All right, congratulations, man. Way to go.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. That's Sheldon Creed, your 2018 Zumango 200 ARCA champ. His first career win. Second in qualifying, took the checkered flag. From the victory lane down here, we're all set. Gina, we'll toss it back up to you.
Thanks, Drew. On Sunday, Eric Jones is a heavy favorite among fans here at MIS. That's because this is the Michigan native's home track. Earlier this week, I caught up with him in his hometown of Byron, a small town, but one that prepared him for the big stage. If you look under the water tower in Byron, Michigan, you'll see a sign displaying the small town's pride for Eric Jones.
I don't know, it's actually hard to, when I try to explain to people where I'm from, it's hard to even kind of fathom how small it is, because a lot of people really have never been in such a small town.
A town of less than 600 people with only one traffic light, a flashing red, right downtown at the intersection of Maple and Saginaw.
That's why it's still home for me. I come here and just feel like you know everyone, know the area, and you're just comfortable.
Eric says it was growing up in this small town that made him the man and the driver that he is today.
It always kind of reminded me not to forget where you come from and your roots, and that sounds you know, cliche, but it really has. You know, it makes me remember coming back here, being a young kid and wanting to be in NASCAR, and how far away that dream seemed at the time.
A dream that comes full circle at his home track.
I remember Eric was at school, and he was 8th grade maybe. And I pulled in, and here's the big MIS sign as you're pulling into the track. And I sat there for a second, and I took a picture of the sign, and I sent it to him. And I'm like, maybe one day, you know, I'll get to actually see you on this track. So.
Someone else who helped make that dream a reality was Eric's father, Dave Jones.
Sorry.
He passed away of lung cancer when he was just 52 years old. It happened exactly 2 years ago, to the day I met with the Jones family on the eve of race weekend.
My dad was a huge part of my racing from the start, and taking myself to the track and making me work at it and work hard at it.
So a win at MIS on Sunday would mean more than just his first NASCAR Cup Series win this season, more than just his first win at his home track.
And be able to be a winner in the Cup Series would really be, you know, kind of the top of the pile for us. That's what we always wanted to do, is get in the Cup Series and be competitive and win races.
It would mean a win for his dad, something together they worked so hard for.
It would be incredible.
And something that's roots are in the small town of Byron.
You kind of hope that it will happen here.
You think he's looking on smiling?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He is, I'm sure, very proud.
We are not done just yet. Stay with us. Yes, this weekend is about racing, but it's also about fans letting loose. We'll show you how they do it here at MIS. Tens of thousands come from around the country to take in a race at Michigan International Speedway, and some turn the infield at the track into a home for the week. Drew Moore shows us how one man turns his lot into the place to be.
Larson's trying to split him. He's in between the two Toyotas. He bounces off.
Brooklyn, Michigan gets a little larger every time these come to town. And this infield becomes more like a neighborhood. And in this hood, no one's got a better spread than Jeff Lucier.
We got the pool table, we got foosball, I got a big PA back here, smoker, because we take care of the next 3 days. We got Texas Hold'em table, we got, you know, foosball. I carpet everything so it's nice and clean. I vacuum every day.
That's right. He literally rolls out the red carpet for people he knows and thousands he doesn't.
I've had 2,000 people on this site, the whole road. Everybody dancing, a DJ pumping dance music.
For anyone and everyone to enjoy.
I get drivers here, I get crews, I get the military. A lot of people stop by. I've had the president of the track here 2-3 times.
The sleeping accommodation's not quite 5-star.
2 guys here, 2 guys up here. And this bunk right here goes, after these guys are done sleeping, it goes, draws back up.
His reason for the magnificent spread, which would make any tailgater stop and envy, is simple. It's not the beer or the booze.
Popping water, folks. Popping water.
But to give everyone Jeff comes across a simple thing.
I do it to make people forget about what's on the outside of the fence. They come in here, and they might still be thinking about bills and payments and, you know, whatever. But when they stand in front of here and they stare at this, they forget everything that's going on outside, the outside world, for 5 or 10 minutes. That's all that matters.
Because when you're here in Jeff's neighborhood at MIS, everyone deserves a break.
In case anyone else is wondering where Drew went after his live shot, I have a pretty good guess that he's down at Jeff's. Lastly, for tonight's Racing Into the Weekend special, we'll break down Sunday's Firekeepers Casino 400. Who's predicted to win, who's on a streak, and what NASCAR analyst Matt Yoakum is expecting ahead of Sunday's race. NASCAR reporter Matt Yoakum is on call for Sunday, so who better to talk race breakdowns with than the pro himself?
The big three have really led the way this year. Headlines, stage points, race wins. But we're coming to MIS, and here in Brooklyn, it's the big one, Kyle Larson. And he's the guy, you know, you hear it always in the pro wrestling, until you beat the man, you can't be the man. And that's really how it's been the past 3 races we've had here. So he's the guy that everybody's really shooting for.
Be sure to head to the web for more and a great one-on-one I had with Matt. Here is a look at the results from qualifying earlier today. Kurt Busch won the pole for Sunday's race. He'll start on the front row next to Brad Keselowski. Byron native Eric Jones qualified in 8th. That'll do it for tonight's Racing into the Weekend special from right here at Michigan International Speedway. You can catch the Firekeepers Casino 400 on the track's 50th anniversary Sunday afternoon right here on Fox 66. For myself and the rest of the crew here at the track, I'm Gina Trotman.